Welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Bargman. A few years ago, I wrote and performed a solo show called The Edge of Every Day, which was an exploration of the rough edges and contradictions we all face and grapple with. The show hit a nerve, and the relevance of the topic would only grow over time, more than I could have foreseen. So, here we are. Real talk with real people, sharing stories and perspectives that spark provocative invitations to leap out of what's safe, on the edge of every day. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone. We are live in the Hive. Thank you for joining me on this, the 32nd episode of The Edge of Every Day here on TalkRadio.NYC. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I encourage you to check out my bio on TalkRadio.NYC, or of course, you can visit me at my website, sandrabargman.com, and please tune into any of my previous episodes with my inspiring guests. As all of my loyal listeners know, this show is about celebrating triumphs, pushing boundaries, and exploring rough edges. Through conversations and shared stories with friends and colleagues, it's my hope that we can begin to understand our edges. And what I mean by edges is those places where we are fearful, those places where we are resistant to change, those places where paradoxes and contradictions live in our beliefs and understandings, both about ourselves and the world around us, those places where we don't want to look. Listen, we live in turbulent times, and we are coming to understand that life simply isn't black or white. It must be an embrace of both. And the more we recognize our own edges and get real about them, the more we can help others to do the same. And that, I fully believe, can help to change the world. So thanks for tuning in. And without further ado, it is time to introduce our guest this evening. Precious L. Williams, affectionately known as #Killer Pitch Master, is a 13-time national elevator pitch champion. She has also been featured on Shark Tank, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Forbes Magazine, Black Enterprise Magazine, Essence Magazine, and the coaching movie Leap. With over 25 years of experience in creating unique speaking and public speaking techniques, Williams is respected for the innovative training programs she delivers to Fortune 100 companies that include Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, eBay, NBC Universal, Federal Reserve Bank, Intuit QuickBooks, Yelp, Harvard University, and more. Since her 2019 #1 best-selling book, Bad Bitches with Power Pitches, for women entrepreneurs and speakers only, Williams has been featured on Times Square billboards, top podcasts, and stages around the world. Her second book, Bad Bitches and Power Pitches Workbook, and her third, Pitching for Profit, the Bad Bitches Playbook to Convert Conversations into Currency, are also #1 bestsellers. Her fourth and next book, The Pitch Queen, A Woman's Journey from Poverty to Purpose and Profits, is available for pre-order on Amazon. Williams is a graduate of Spelman College and Rutgers School of Law. She currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. To learn more about Perfect Pitches by Precious LLC, please visit perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. Hello and welcome, Precious L. Williams.
Oh, let's get it.
Oh yeah. I am.
I was interested when my bio was read. I'm like, that really
what?
me.
Did I do that?
I remember when I was younger, and you go to events and they would read people's bios, and then you become the one that they read the bio about. It's like, wow, come from full circle.
It does. It's so deep and so beautiful.
And it's really true. Yeah.
Yeah. Amen. And it's really true. And we are really, really, really happy that it's true that you are here on this show. So thanks for coming on.
Me.
Yeah. And happy Juneteenth. I think I heard that one of the many things that I listened to of yours in doing my research on you, that you were speaking at a Juneteenth event yesterday.
I was.
Yes, how fabulous. How was that?
When I tell you, it was amazing. So you walk in and the mall was taken. It still had its regular stores, but all throughout the mall were Black owned businesses with everything from books and unique artwork and all these amazing. They had a gentleman's corner, they had a kids corner, they had the main stage, and that's where I was. They had panels that included representatives from MasterCard, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses, BENYC, which is Black Entrepreneurs NYC. They just had these amazing things going on so that we could see the depth and breadth of what's happening in the Black community, how we're celebrating Juneteenth and reclaiming it as something to be very, very proud of. And I know a lot of people talk about the commercialization. That's not what I felt. I felt when I saw the families coming in, when I saw, they were actually, young people were listening to me speak. I had a fireside chat at 5:30. And so people were listening to me speak. And then at 6, there became the pitch competition. And so I was one of the judges on the panel with Michelle, who owns Dust Spot NYC, which was hosting the Juneteenth event at City Point. And Paisley Envy, who was over Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses New York. And so again, people were pitching for the first time. And I know when I pitch, it looks real slick.
Yeah,
what was so funny is we were telling them you got to do something new every day. And when these I think it was 4 or 5, it was 4 businesses that pitched, and just going back in time, like, and there were some people, there was a couple of businesses, we don't, kind of not wanting to say how much they had made. And I'm like, you better pick your head up high. We gotta pay attention to economic progress. You got people who ain't even made $2.30. You went from 50 to 60 to 70, or maybe you went from 60 to 70 to 80. Maybe you just started and you made 20. Maybe you just started like 2 months ago and you're in the red. Okay. Yeah. That's the reality of entrepreneurship. I said, y'all better hold your head up high. Don't let these people on social media make you think that everybody's popping off. I said, I'm a 10-year overnight success. Can we keep that above? Can we keep that above? I was a pitch master from 2011 to 2013. That's when I stopped pitching. And then going into teaching with Perfect Pitches by Precious. But let me be clear. The pitch master I was back then is nothing compared to who I am today. There's so many lessons that you learn in business. And speaking. The speaker I was at 16 is very different from the speaker at 43.
And who you're going to be in 20 years. And how that voice and life experience is just going to deepen your truth and getting it out. Extraordinary. Oh my, I wish I could have seen that. And I want to talk to you about what pitch means to you, but I do want to come back to Juneteenth, because I need to make this point, because it's the second year for it being a federal holiday.
Yep.
And I know, like many, many people, I'll speak for white people, I didn't really know about Juneteenth until a couple of years ago. And I understand that many Black people also didn't really know until recently about, at least with the research that I've been doing, and are learning and embracing and understanding the history of it. And for those of you listening in, it is the day that honors the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. But remember, it was after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Abraham Lincoln in 1862. 3 years later, not every enslaved person knew that they were free. So on June 19th, General Granger went down to Galveston, Texas, and let the last of the enslaved people know that they were free. So if you want to learn more and need to learn more about Juneteenth, here's a great place to start. PBS has some fantastic information and documentaries on the history and the meaning of Juneteenth, how to celebrate, and how Juneteenth speaks to our current moment in history and the education of today's moment in history. So I urge everyone to go to PBS .org/learn about and celebrate Juneteenth. So absolutely. Pitch. What's your, I love your description of pitch. What is your description of pitch?
So pitching in and of itself is just a short, brief way of introducing you, your brand, your book, your product, your service, a new great idea to whom you hope is an interested party who will eventually buy or refer or hire you or book you or put you on something, right? So when I think about pitching, and I'm a curvy girl, so I always try to bring it back to food.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's all about the food at the end of the day.
So I'm going to tell you the difference between the plate and the fork. So you're going to, it's the holidays, whatever holidays it is, whatever the big holidays of your culture, your nation, whatever, biggest holiday. You know, you're going to go over to somebody's house because you know you're not cooking. And even if you are, you're going over to somebody's house, you go in, food smelling good, you're chopping it up with your family, your friends, your loved ones. You waiting to hear dinner, and you hear the word dinner. So you go over, you start putting things on your plate, your favorite things. Because the first plate, you know, you setting it off right. You start putting things on your plate like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And now you all are sitting down before you say grace. So as you look at that plate, and I'm telling y'all, think about this in terms of y'all like that good food, even if you pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan, you know. So look at that plate. That plate represents the things that you love. It represents you and your business, your products, your services. It represents your skill set, your abilities, your talents. It represents your network, your prospects, closed deals, open deals, all these sort of things. And now that you said grace, pick up that first fork or spoon. What's the first thing you're going to sink your fork or spoon into? Just think about it. And now, as you take that fork and bring it up to your lips, look at it. That is what a pitch is. So from the plate, everybody wants to give the whole plate of everything about them, everything about their company, their books, everything. No, it's the fork is your pitch. It's a juicy morsel, a taste of more to come. And you need to give people bite after bite after bite. Because if you rope them in, bite by bite, captivating, titillating, give them that juicy taste, they're going to keep coming back for more. So if you give them everything on that plate, what's the point in it? First of all, confused mind can't buy, and you will confuse people. So in the end, that is what pitching is. Don't give them the plate, give them the first fork, a juicy morsel that'll keep them coming back for more. So that is what a pitch is.
Oh, love that. Well, that's a great seg. Now that we all are clear on what a pitch is, that's a great seg. We're going to hear all. Pardon me?
I said, give them that taste, that first fork.
That first fork.
Got them.
Well, and I love that you also said, you know, every moment there's an opportunity for a pitch in every moment. Like, boom, like every moment is the edge of every day.
You ever talk about a no good man, no good woman in your life, no good day, a job you love or hate, an opportunity has come, you are the focal point of attention and you're keeping someone focused on you as you all go through it together, but you're still the focal point of attention.
Amen.
Don't forget, everybody needs a pitch.
Well, so when we come back, we're going to hear from Precious. Both she and I are sniffling because we're both a little under the weather, but we're having fun nonetheless.
Oh, yes, we are.
We're going to hear how she and I came to meet, and we're going to hear about her first speaking gig when we come back with Precious Williams. Stay tuned on the edge of every day.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant. And on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you on edge? Hey, we live in challenging, edgy times, so let's lean in. I'm Sandra Bargman, the host of The Edge of Every Day, which airs each Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on TalkRadio.NYC. Tune in live with me and my friends and colleagues as we share stories and perspectives about pushing boundaries and exploring our rough edges. That's The Edge of Every Day on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back with Precious Williams. And so I want to pick it up with a shout out to our dear friend who introduced us, the lovely Leslie Michaels,
Yes.
who has her own podcast. Now that we've mentioned her, we have to plug her podcast, Women We Should Know, which you have gloriously been a guest on. And
Yes,
as have I. Leslie also has a book, On the
Yep.
Shoulders of Mighty Women, coming out in mere moments. Yes. And I had Leslie on a couple of weeks ago to plug her book. And just to let my listeners know, I also have a chapter. Leslie invited me in, and I have a chapter within that book. So stay tuned, and I will let you all know the moment it's out. But Leslie was glorious enough to introduce me to you, and you gloriously agreed to come on. So thank you, Leslie. So
Thank you.
So let's dive into tell us about your first gig as a speaker. How did you get there?
So my first gig as a speaker was when I was 16 years old. So the principal of my high school, Mr. Floyd Cruz, he came to me one day and he said, "I'd love for you to speak at this event." And again, I'm 16. I mean, I don't even know how I would have been afraid. I just wasn't, but I didn't know how to write a speech. So either my English teacher, Miss Addie B. Jackson, or Miss Ruth Hill wrote my speech. Can't tell you what it was about. I'm 43 now. But I remember when my grandmother drove me to the place because, she was coming in with me. And there was all these politicians there. I hadn't rehearsed anything. So when they were giving my little cool bio for a high school student, I stood up, opened up, because yes, I had to stand at the podium because, I wasn't who I am today. And I started speaking. It's funny, I could see the words and know exactly what the cadence should be, like when to stop. It was the weirdest thing. It's like I had the talent at such a young age. And so when I was speaking, it wasn't all like run. It was just literally measured for maximum impact, even though I had never seen the speech before.
You're an actor.
And when I tell you standing ovation, the mayor of the city of St. Louis, Freeman Bosley Jr., afterwards, to get politicians to give you a standing ovation. I was 16. I look back like, man, I was a young Barack Obama, And so the mayor Freeman Bosley, came to me and said, "Yes, I'd love to have you on our St. Louis Public Schools Task Force." Okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
My next speaking engagement was before the governor of Missouri. And I just kept speaking at different events, standing ovations and everything. And I remember the last time I spoke before a different governor of Missouri was in 2008. And it was Governor Bob Holden. And I hadn't missed a beat. I just got better. I got better and better. But Mr. Floyd Cruz gave me the opportunity. But my grandmother told me I had to give the speech. She told me that Oprah was going to call my name. She told me that when I speak, it's not even just about having bass in my voice. I think I've always had a different type of energy. And she saw it at such a young age, but no one else could. And I'm named after her. She's Precious Dolores Williams and Precious Latanya Williams. And so I just think that there was always a connection between us. And so where was she always when I spoke, right? Like this, I could always look out at her because she always knew where to stand just in case I had a moment. I'm looking over at her and she like, you know what time it is. Give it to him. Give it to him. I'm giving him business. I'm not giving the business, grandma. So even when I speak today, I always look like as if she's still there. But I was 16. I don't think I understood that I had a talent. It was cool to do. It was nice to be in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. It was nice to speak at all these great places. I ate every chicken dinner, steak dinner, fish dinner. You know, I've had them all. I had and nice food too, you know. I live in the inner city. So, you know, and to shake hands with people that I look back like, I've been preparing for this for so long. But when you're that young, you don't know. Of course, I spoke when I was a Spelman student at Spelman College. Yeah, you know, became an attorney and everything like that. But my first one was when I was 16, and I'm 43.
Well, amazing, and it's not, you're just like a natural actor, and you feel at home on stage. That heightened sense of presence of that you feel correct and real there.
I do,
and that comes shining through, absolutely shining through. So I'm as I put in all of my social media about you, I'm just, and what I've learned about you and your willingness to be so raw and real and willing to share all of the dark places of your past has just been, your vulnerabilities has just been breathtaking. And I've said you're the walking embodiment of the edge of every day. And my show, the podcast, is based on a one-woman show. And I explored what the edge meant within that show. And one of the ways that we discussed the edge, of course, leaping off the edge and taking risks, but one of the ways was the light versus the dark, and the willingness to go in the shadow work, as a Jungian analyst would call it, the willingness to speak about the shadows. And you are extraordinary in that. And here's a quote from that show: "That which you are most afraid to admit, share, or even see within yourself might just be your superpower."
I have to agree.
That's your platform.
I have to agree, but I have to be honest, I wasn't always like this.
Oh, you didn't pop out perfectly?
Oh, no, not at all. That's very cute of you. No, so in my 30s, you know, it was all about, you know, flexing and being on stage and being poised and always looking perfect and all those things. And so, you know, when I lost the love of my life, you know, I love when people ask me what his name is. I said, does it even matter? Does it really matter? Yes, he was famous. Yes, he was this, but you would focus on him instead of what came, the beauty that remained from that darkness. And so when he died, I just lost my mind, became, when I tell you, a severe alcoholic, I'm surprised I'm still standing today. That's how much alcohol I drank, right? Became homeless, tried to take my life, my precious life, on my 38th birthday. So to be at 43, 5 years later, clean, sober, dealing with my emotions. But when I walked out of the Bowery Mission Women's Center, which is a Christ-centered life transformation program in New York City, I didn't stay in a shelter. I stayed in a Christ-centered life transformation program. I didn't have the distractions anymore. I couldn't run my company, which was Curvy Girls Lingerie, the one he inspired me to start. And I got to really dig deep, you know, in my discipleship classes, in volunteering, in packing things for kids. Like there were so many things that I missed out on, chasing the success, right? That everybody says that they want. But let me tell you where success took me to: being alone, because I was very transactional. I couldn't do anything without talking about business because I was uncomfortable with my personal. I was uncomfortable. I never felt wanted, never felt any of those sort of things. But when I was able to walk out of homelessness on September 1st, 2018, I didn't realize that the comeback. So when my Heavenly Father was choking out the fat lady so she couldn't sing, so it wasn't over for me, fat lady still being choked out. My second act, as far as speaking, as far as helping women honestly see how to give birth to their next beautiful now, but it had to happen with me. And so I had to take off every mask, every layer, take it off and just say, people are going to bring it up anyway. but let me tell you what it really was. And as you know, when you're growing up in certain communities, where I was told keep everything in the house. Well, I felt like if we don't bring it out, people will think if they didn't live the life they see on social media, that if they didn't grow up like that, if they didn't have all of that, it can't happen. But yes, it can. It can happen, but you have to do things differently than the world will tell you. See, the world will tell you, put on the mask, get a Brazilian butt lift, 6-pack abs and all of that. I'm 43 years old. If I wanted it, yes, I could get it. But there's something so comfortable about when I look at women and I look at us and I see us working hard, but we forgot who we were. And so when I heard my Heavenly Father say, give it to them raw, first I had to show them what power looks like. And I'm a powerful speaker. And then I can show you my backstory, because you're enamored now. But if you lead with darkness, people will still see you always in darkness.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful about, even with pitching and speaking, if it's a keynote, that's one thing. But if you're training, my homeless story, my alcoholism, my not being wanted by my parents, me feeling like my family abandoned me feeling like nobody loved me. And that's why I did all these crazy things. That's irrelevant to the audience I'm in front of. But if it's a keynote, I'll take a different aspect of my story, because it might relate. And the beautiful thing about me being the speaker that I am is I can feel the energy. So I can change speeches on a dime. In fact, I did a speech before Dress for Success for their annual event. And I heard a woman say something I was going to say right before me. So I switched up everything. And I wrote out 5 bullet points, because I don't regurgitate, and I do not follow someone saying that, because that's whack to me as a speaker. Yeah. So I went in and I was talking, and I know they were like, that is not what we thought she was going to say, but that's appropriate for the moment. And so that's the greatest thing that happens. I know who I am as a speaker. And I know that when you're reading the room, the thing you think you're going to say, it might have to just change. And you have to know that I don't need a podium. I don't need a podium. Yeah. I feel like Beyonce, give me a mic and a light. A mic and a light. I got you. I don't even have to have a wig. I can take this wig off, makeup off, and I'm like, let's go. And I think that's why people love when I speak. It's my energy, but also take all of this off, I'm still that queen.
Yeah. Well, and we all have seen in you, but everywhere we go, that power of vulnerability, the willingness to strip yourself open, it's breathtaking. And when you've got both the light and the dark pumped, you're the whole package.
Oh, most definitely.
Oh my. Well,
but I also think it's about embracing difference too. I mean, my hair is lavender today,
which is glorious.
It might be pink.
I love that.
And I'm still 43. And I'm gonna do it my way. I want to be like Frank Sinatra. Oh, brown eyes glisten.
She did it her way. Oh my!
I tried to tell you.
Oh my God! With this cold, I'm like down in the gutter. It's all good. All good. Hi, everyone. All right. So it is time for a break. We've got that little notice from our glorious man, Tech Man. So when we come back with the wonderful Precious Williams, we're going to dive in with, I think we're going to start out with your books and then move maybe into curvy girl lingerie, possibly. We'll just play it by ear. When we come back with Precious Williams on the Edge of Everyday. Stay tuned, everyone.
Howdy, I am Joseph Franklin McElroy, host of the new podcast, Gateway to the Smokies. It airs on TalkRadio.NYC every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7. Every episode is dedicated to memorable experiences in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and surrounding areas. This show features experts and locals who expound upon the richness of culture, history, and adventure that awaits you in the Smokies. Tune in every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you passionate about the conversation around racism? Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. TLC, host of the Dismantle Racism Show, which airs every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on TalkRadio.NYC. Join me and my amazing guests as we discuss ways to uncover, dismantle, and eradicate racism. That's Thursdays at 11 o'clock a.m. on TalkRadio.NYC.
Are you a small business trying to navigate the COVID-19 related employment laws? Hello, I'm Eric Sauber, employment law business law attorney and host of the new radio show, Employment Law Today. On my show, we'll have guests to discuss the common employment law challenges business owners are facing during these trying times. Tune in on Tuesday evenings from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours.
On the edge of every day, and we are back with Precious Williams. So let's dive in. Let's go in with hear about your books. How did writing your books turn your life, your business, and your career around?
Well, you know what? When I came out of homelessness on September 1st, 2018, I never would have thought that a simple book would change my life. But I happened to be talking to a woman I had known who was a writer for CNN, and she wrote a story on me for June 2015. It was Entrepreneur of the Month. And we just were talking, and periodically people have reached out to me and say, hey, we would love if you want to publish a book. And I'm looking at them like, you ain't even got credentials for me to write. And I said, truth is, I was afraid because I could never seem to write.
Of course.
But also credentials matter. If they haven't really done much, I don't need to be with you. But I trusted her. And so she said, where's the book? She said, what's the title? I said, Bad Bitches and Power Bitches for Women Entrepreneurs as Big as Ollie. She said, you got the title with no book. I said, I wrote out the outline. So I sent it to her and she was like, exactly what I thought. She says, it's 3 different books. So she said, do I want to work with her? And I said, actually, I do, because I like a woman who will stand up to me. I actually like, because not that most women won't, but she knew she'd get the best out of me.
Yeah.
And coming out of a dark place, I wanted to teach people as I was going up this ladder, I did it through pitching. So rather than write a book about prompts, I really wanted to write a book about the psychology of pitching with the 7 branding personas. Right? So are you ruled by power? Are you unstoppable? Are you flawed? Are you funny? Are you mysterious? Are you ruled by numbers? Like, these are the sort of questions that I want people to think about. And I knew it was a unique way of approaching pitching. So once you would decide on which 1 or 2 you are, and yes, there's a bad bitch manifesto in here, girl. You lost that.
Yes.
And I wrote that, right? So it's, it's really about the unstoppable bitch, the power bitch, the creative bitch, the funny bitch, the mysterious bitch, the flawed bitch, and the numbers bitch. And so, yes, and this is a pitch in itself. You see the title? So you told me no one would buy this. It's not respectable. But you're a badass at making money, made money. It was number 1 bestseller. And so what I had to do was, okay, so 2.5 months, she gave me 2.5 months. I had to write a chapter a week. And when we were done, I couldn't believe it. So we didn't even have a marketing plan for it. It was just like, we're going to put this out there and see what happened. And then my business coach, she said, your book is number 1. I was like, wow, because I expected 2 people to buy, 2. And it stayed number 1. And it was $19.99. It was never 99 cents, ever. Like, we did everything that was supposed to be wrong, right. And then Forbes Magazine reached out. And they said, we want to review your book. And they said, we can't tell you if it's going to be good or bad. I'm like, if Forbes says it's trash, they'll buy it anyway, because they want to know why would they review trash. Billboard in Times Square, 4-time book of the year, finals in business sales and economics. I could not believe my first book. It's not even that big. Even that big. But I'm the pitch master. That's why. So then when it came to Bad Bitches and Power Pitches, the workbook, once you understand who you are, now it's time to create different types of prompts. So we all know there's 6 different types of pitches. There's the elevator for networking events, the media, different types of media, even what we're doing today. We have the investor pitch, where the money reside, There's a speaker pitch, because I don't know about you, but there's a lot of speakers who ain't getting paid and frustrated. So I'm gonna show you how to get booked, busy, and what paid, so you can be #booked and blissful. Then you have the interview pitch, and don't forget you have a sales pitch. And then think about the different audiences. You might be in front of companies, corporations, foundations, nonprofits, small entrepreneur. Like so this helps helps you. You have to know who you are. And then, oh no, we're about to slice and dice now. Once you get that together, then you have Pitching for Profit, the bad bitches playbook to convert conversations into currency. Do y'all know this is the first book y'all see with my face on the cover?
Oh yeah.
Well,
look it up.
So with my first two books, I was afraid that if I had my face on it, people would just assume, oh, it's just a Black book. And I was like, I write business books. And people were like, why would you think that? Really? Really? We're going to ask that question? Really? But by this time, I was so confident in myself.
In who you were.
That if you talk, you can talk a good game, baby. I've been in movies, documentaries. I've been on television. I've been on Shark Tank, CNN, Wall Street Journal, all that kind of stuff. And I was still Black on both sides. Did you hear me though? So what this book was teaching people how to build and rebuild their network so that they can monetize it and build the type of relationships where people pitch you now. So we're not pitching for revenue. We pitching for profit. So if you've ever wanted to know, how do you get the right referrals? How do you align the right people around you to do the business development you don't have time for anymore? Because you're already out there doing your thug dizzle, right? And so this book to me was such a game changer because people thought, why did you say cash? I said, because I want you to be like NBA Youngboy. Broke again. It's not about having all the cash. If you have the right relationship, you will never be broke again. You will never. Rent due. And this also shows you one of the greatest techniques is with your VIPs, you should be sending them an email every month, every couple of months, letting them know the highlights. Because as you condition them to see you as constantly moving forward, even in a pandemic, an economic downturn, and social unrest, when you make your ass, they're not gonna say no. You've already demonstrated, but that takes vision. And that's why when people think of pitching, they think it's just words. I'm like, oh no, pitching is how you show up. Pitching is what's in your social media posts. Pitching is what are people saying about you when you're not even there. In fact, an article from LinkedIn came out today, Queen. I don't know if you saw it. It was written by LinkedIn. And he asked two professionals in pitching, I'm one of them, about how do you actually create the perfect pitch? Now, you can get a company like that, and yes, I have a relationship with them, but that's not a guarantee that they will write on me. There are a lot of great people who can pitch. I'm good at all six, though. I'm good at all six. And I'm a former attorney. And I'm someone who's an award-winning speaker. So when I tell you that I speak all over the world, when I tell you I can do live trainings, I can do virtual trainings and have them hyped in these streets. I can do technical, scientific, or whatever. It's because I love what I do. And it started from 16 years old, being able to captivate politicians and not speaking as a child. But being able to look people of merit in the eye. I come from the hood of St. Louis, and I'm looking you in the eye like, oh, I belong here too. In fact, I don't know if you knew this. So was it last month or the month before last? We just shot a new television show for entrepreneurs. And I was originally brought in to be a pitch trainer. And I was sitting with the host, one of the hosts, and we were all introducing ourselves around the table. And he said, he wanted us all to introduce ourselves. And I went last, and I laid slay all competition. He looked at me, he said, oh no, you're hosting with me. Jigga what? And it was so good because I'm in a room with billionaires, multimillionaires, people who've made more money than me, because I literally just walked out of homelessness, but I'm doing it big, and I'm making money. But I never once, now, my journey of homelessness, severe alcohol addiction, being unwanted, abused, abandoned, tortured, I'm still here and I'm standing toe to toe with the best in the world, and they see me as an equal. Do you know what that feels like as a speaker, as an entrepreneur, as a Black woman, as a woman, as a full-figure diva, and a plus-size fashionista, a woman who created a company that died soon after they were on Shark Tank, not because of anything to do with Shark Tank, but because I had the wrong business partner. And also grief is real. You do not know how to operate in grief if you don't have a strong team. And I didn't. And so I can look back on that experience. When you talk about the edge of every day, babe, I'm gonna tell you, the best part of my life started when I started to live on the edge, not on the straight and narrow.
Amen.
And
Amen.
I be honest. Listen, I've been kicked out of Georgetown University Law Center. I'm supposed to not have the life that I have. But there was always something in me that said, God, you're going to break the mold. Fortune favors the bold. And I said, I'm gonna go out as bold at 327 pounds with curvy girls. There's no way we should have gotten to where we did. But this brought me back on the map, because when this started selling, we started selling, and then companies, corporations, foundations, nonprofit, and the federal government has bought this book. Are you serious now? Are you for real?
Of course they did.
Brought me back in. And so when people, might have thought my services, which weren't to me expensive, there was nothing, they wanted to get the $20 version of me. And then here goes another $20 version. And then here's the $30 version. And then we created a triple threat pitch book bundle.
Yes. Which you can all get on her website.
Oh yeah. Triple threat pitch book bundle. But not only that, there's still more in me. And so my next book is called The Pitch Queen. And so it's going to tell stories that people would never believe about, how I got here. Because, you might hear, oh, homeless, whatever. I'm like, oh, there's some stories in there that had you like, and you're still here. I'm like, yeah. But pitching is how I got out of it. You ever been in a dark situation and you had to talk your way out of it? But I done been in some really deep situations, and all I had was the gift of speech.
Well, you are like shamanistic with your gift of speech, and it's circling back to your books. It cracks me up that there was ever sort of a moment of, well, that's just really audacious, calling it bad bitches and perfect pitches. I mean, that's truly your platform. It's who you are. And it's also what I love is what you teach other people to do, is to get out of that box and to take, as you've said, take those masks off, get out of perfectionism, and as structures are breaking down, the old doesn't work anymore. And you of all people know that. And you of all people teach that. That way things are done is over. Yeah.
I just really think,
No. We're at 2 minutes.
I did see that. So I was going, yeah.
Okay. That was, it's so incredible how shy you just were in that section.
I know. You know what I also want to just make sure people know? Our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, mothers and fathers didn't have the opportunities that we have. So I will never disrespect their honor because they didn't have what we had.
The lineage.
Fighting for what it is that they had to walk and crawl so we could fly. And I pray that we do stuff for the next generation that makes it easier, right? And so my grandmother saw this in me. Imagine if I never
Your
had
precious grandmother.
Who would I be? And that's why I think my name, it goes all the way in the old age. You know what I mean? It goes all the way in the old age.
Yes, it does translate. It does age well, as they say.
My grandmother was truly the most beautiful woman, and she was in her 60s. I just used to look at her like, man, she fire, she's fine. You know what I'm saying? She was. Her hair it really looked like this, but it was like gray. And so I look sometimes. I'm like, no, you was stunting. So anyway, we got to give credit to our prior generations. They didn't have what we had. And thank God that books can change your life. You never believe it until you do it. And I'm in business. This isn't an autobiography. This isn't memoirs. This isn't this is business. And if business people respect the gangster of who you are.
The gangster of who you are. I love it.
Now let's go.
All right, bam. All right. Now we're ready. Okay. When we come back after our glorious commercial break, I do want to touch on your poetry. I really do want to. I am so intrigued by that. When we come back with Precious Williams for our last segment, we're going to touch on her poetry, and we're going to talk about her leading edge and where she's going next. When we come back on the edge of every day. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on TalkRadio.NYC, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on TalkRadio.NYC.
In a post-COVID world, you may have many unanswered questions regarding your health. Are you looking to live a healthier lifestyle? Do you have a desire to learn more about mental health and enhance your quality of life? Or do you just want to participate in self-understanding and awareness? I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each Thursday, I will tackle these questions and work to enlighten you. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. on TalkRadio.NYC, and I will be frank about help to advocate for all of us.
Calling all pet lovers.
Pet Avengers, assemble!
On the Professionals and Animal Lovers show, we believe the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. It mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. Through this program, we come together to learn, educate, and advocate.
Join us live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. at TalkRadio.NYC.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Chipping around, kick my brain to the ground. These are the days it never rained, but it pours on the edge of every day.
And we are back with Precious Williams. And I want to start in with your poetry that you said you wrote while you were in the psych ward.
I did.
I
did. And it's so funny.
Stunning journey.
I always knew that there was a poet in me. And I was in and out of psych wards for like over 2 years in Brooklyn years ago. And I could not figure out why couldn't I just get it together, right? And one day I was talking to this old gentleman who, I guess he was a lifer. I'll call it that. It was not prison, but there was some prison-like tendencies. And he said to me, just go in your room and just start writing. And I always wanted my poems to rhyme, right? I knew I couldn't just start off doing a sonnet like Shakespeare or anything like that. And I sat there and it was like the power of focus. And I just started writing. And it was like coming out of me so fast and furious. It was like, yo. So I run up to him, I'm like, yo, listen to this. I'm going in. It was like, yo, keep going. There was so much in me. A lot of it was about heartache and the art of fighting. And, it was like, I don't know. It almost felt like medieval with armory. It was crazy. I was writing about love and losing love and it ran the gamut.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it as a craft. And so when I write poetry, like even like with my first book, The Bad Bitch Manifesto, as I was writing it, it just came out of me. It like, I don't think about it. I just go in and it just comes. And I said, that's why it's a gift. And you have to nurture any gift you truly have to nurture or it will atrophy. And that's why I say, just like confidence is a muscle you must flex. You can't look at everybody else and say, oh, it's going to come. Just like with pitching and just like with speaking, your first speaker, even as great as you think you are, come back to it 2-3 years later and look at it, you will be like, oh, I learned so much. You learn a lot from watching other speakers and trying different tactics and techniques before you build your own voice as a speaker. Yeah. I don't work with speakers who want to sound like me. I'm like, do you know when I really own my voice, when I started pitching, everybody else to me was boring in pitching. I was like, I got to sound like that. And I just couldn't do it like usual.
Right. Very nice.
And I came in like I felt like I'm coming in like a wrecking ball. And
totally.
I won. And people are like, who is this?
What?
She's going to talk about, she's fat. I thought she was going to talk about cupcakes and brunch. I'm like,
no, she's herself.
I'm going to talk about, I take your man with some nice lingerie and his 327 pound body. You don't want the smoke. You don't want it. And then as I started growing even more and more into myself, it's like my perceived flaws to everyone, Black, tall, full figured, all these perceived, I'm 43. Girl, you're supposed to be out to dry. Oh no, baby.
What?
Your money. First of all, I think, when I was younger, how when you're young, you think you know everything. Then you get to a certain age, you're like, I ain't know nothing.
I don't know. Well, and it just gets better.
I didn't know nothing. That's why I made dumb mistakes, right? And so that's wasted. And then as you start to have experience, I'm not going to say there are some days I'm looking like, my mentality used to be real high. I look at old pictures, man, I was really cute. You don't even know it. But there's a gift in age.
Oh my. Dear Lord.
For the people who didn't get here, imagine if they did.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a gift. Yes, it comes with the body not being exactly the same. And you remember you could fall, you could bounce back up. Now you fall, you be like, hold up, give me a little moment. I gotta collect my thoughts and make.
I'm telling you, I can't wait to talk about you. What's next for you? What your leading edge is? But I'm feeling like stand-up comedy is on its way.
Oh,
I mean, a book of poetry is coming. Some stand-up comedy is coming.
It's so funny. I was on a bus and this guy said, you make a great comedian. It's like, you make people laugh.
One, you are one.
That's off the dome. And so, so what's, next for me, honestly, is we're changing. My company's changing and becoming more of an agency. And with that, I was having a conversation with my business coach today, and there are growing pains that happen as you go into different levels. And so even with that, I know it's time for me to not be so much on social media. No, I'm not on social media all day, every day, but I have so much to post with so many successes, but I'm really hearing in the spirit, let your team start doing that, because you're going to take a step back, because the bigger and bigger opportunities, you're not going to be able to do that anymore.
Amen.
And that's actually a good thing, because my audience has changed. When I started, like with any one of us, when we start a company, we'll take anybody who comes to the door as speakers, trainers, whatever. But then there comes that, no, my clientele has changed. And so they don't need me to hold their hand. They're already successful. What they need is to elevate into that next level. And so the hand holding is not what they need.
Yep.
Not what they need. And so now that that's changed, my 4th book coming out, a new television show coming out, and wanting to build I want to build a media empire. I really want to be the number one. I really want Perfect Pitches to be the number one speech communication solutions company in the world. And so that's PR, that's communication, that's pitching, and really showing that it is possible to start with very little. And yes, I've had a lot of help by demonstrating what I'm talented at. And so people felt comfortable helping me. But I really want to transform the face of what speaking looks like. It's not always someone who doesn't look like me. It's not always growing up in this particular family. It's not always like communication can take you from last to first really, really quickly. And we live in a day and a time where that's easier than it's ever been. I am not a motivational speaker. That belongs to other people. I am not inspirational, transformational. I am the killer pitch master, and I am the pitch queen. All I know how to do is show y'all how to slay all competition. I've gone up against the biggest and the baddest from the best schools in the world and sliced and diced like it was nothing. Maybe it's because I came from very little. And so if I have to go back to oodles and noodles, best believe I can. But I'm gonna come back better, bigger, better, stronger, and faster. And I always rise like the phoenix. And that's one of the things I work with my clients on. It's not just mindset, but really truly seeing what's in front of you, having a vision that the news can't hold, that your friends and family can't hold. It's seeing beyond all possibility, all impossibility, because we serve a most high God that, my purpose is being fulfilled every day. I thought I had to be look like everybody else. Baby, when I showed up with hot pink, I went to Google with a blue wig. It was all curly. He was like, I like that. I said, I know. And I don't have a hoodie on. I ain't got no hoodie on, but I'm about to flex on them.
Okay. So all things can be found at Perfect Pitches by Precious.com. Your website has so much content. There are ways of working with you. You can work virtually with you. You can have one-on-ones. You can be in groups. Your business can hire you. There's just a plethora of ways people can work with you. All your books, you can get singles or this trio on your website, said trio, and you can get them signed.
Yes, if you buy them from my website, I will personally sign them and put them in the mail. But I'll actually send you a what do they call it, Queen, the tracking, and
I love it.
The receipt and tracking. Oh yeah, because I don't play. I am honored by everyone who purchases from me, because I know that even in a time like this, it is a blessing for someone to see value in what it is that I do. And did you know 4 of my clients won picture competitions last week? 4.
Congratulations. Oh my God, you must be
I
so
can't even.
proud.
Like,
Like
man,
proud mama.
I said, I'm batting 1,000. I was actually there for 1. And to watch her take second place at the Roadmap to Billions from Black Women in Talk Tech, and to just see and just be like, she didn't even think it was coming. And I'm like, nailed it. And so, yes, working with companies, corporations, foundations, nonprofits, working with authors, speakers, and entrepreneurs has blessed me. And that's why we're making that transition into the next version of who we are.
Yeah.
And yet taking the mask off and not being afraid about what's underneath. So many people
Amen.
are lonely and tired. So many people don't even know how to really be, because they've always had to be in someone else's box. Or social media says it's not about how it feels, it's what it looks like.
Oh, amen. Well, this is the perfect seg too. What's your last tidbit that you want to say to young women who are coming up and wanting to follow in your footsteps? What's your nugget of great truth to leave my show with?
Fortune truly favors the bold. And so you boldly go after it. Some of y'all want to tell people, I've done both. I've been quiet and I've been loud. Either way, it's going to get done.
Amen.
And another great thing is the people around you can dictate how you fly. So if you hang with people who ain't about nothing, chances are you won't be about nothing. So as you start to move, pay attention to people around you and be the flicker to somebody else's flame. Hang around those who are doing better in whatever way to you, and they will pull you up, and you'll start to see life from a totally different perspective. You get that first class life that you never even knew existed.
Amen. Beautiful. Thank you, Precious Williams, for being on my show. What a joy and a pleasure. You are just a rock star.
I be trying, girl. I be trying.
All right. Well, and to all of those who are listening in, thank you so much for being with us. And remember, you are always at the edge of the miraculous. Till next week, keep well.
This is